Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Built in Ohio, the Ohio Tech and Innovation podcast, where we're talking with and about the people, companies, and ideas doing fantastic things in tech and innovation all across the Buckeye State. We have a fantastic, very special guest with us today who has really helped leading so much of what's going on in Ohio and has a fantastic and a wonderful track record, as we just walked through in the opening description. And so, Ratmir, I'd love to welcome you to the show officially. Thank you so much for joining Built in Ohio, and just really grateful for you taking the time to join us today.
Absolutely, my pleasure, Chris. Thanks for having me, and great to be on your Ohio X podcast.
Well, thank you. To start, we have a lot to go over, so we'll kind of try to make good use of our time today. But I want to start at the top with what you're doing right now, the Center for Software Innovation at The Ohio State University, and you're rocking the Ohio State gear as we speak. But tell us a little about it in your own words, what it's doing now, and where you really think it might be able to go in 5 or 10 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we like to refer to it as CSI, which stands for Center for Software Innovation at Ohio State University. It's a big initiative and a program that includes multiple components. But on a high level, we like to think about it as building. Our goal is to build the world's strongest community of innovators. And by innovators, we mean everybody, because the future is going to be about innovators and entrepreneurs. And again, when we say innovators and entrepreneurs, we mean everybody, like our students, faculty, but also real entrepreneurs or industry leaders, or just anybody who works, who does a job, because the job of the future, considering the progress that we are making with AI, is going to be about innovation and about being entrepreneurial. It doesn't matter what you do. You don't need to start your own company. It's still you have to be entrepreneurial and innovative at anything you do. Again, considering the AI is going to replace a lot of rudimentary work. So again, building the world's strongest community of innovators. That's our goal. And again, innovators includes entrepreneurs, industry leaders, students, faculty, community leaders, anybody who is contributing to the future or to the future of innovation.
Yeah, and I love that, because Ohio State, as the anchor, is perfectly positioned for that, where a fantastic medical school and nursing school and business schools and the innovation of each of those is incredibly important. And as you mentioned, something like AI, a technology that's democratized and decentralized, where anyone can use it in their day to day, and creates fantastic innovation opportunities. But how did you get there in terms of CSI is you're building this amazing thing that lots of people are now helping with, and it's a big leading pillar for Ohio State. But where did the original vision for this idea come from? What's the inspiration behind it?
Yeah, absolutely. So the idea is that the future is about software. Software is eating the world, and now AI is eating the world. Like if you look at Tesla, for example, Tesla is not a car company. It's a software company that happens to manufacture cars. Or JP Morgan, it's not a bank. It's a software company, happens to provide banking services, and so on and so on. So the future of all of us is software, and we will change so many jobs. Young people will change so many jobs, and all of them are going to be related to like AI and software and innovation. So that's where the idea comes from. And the way we like to think about CSI, or again, Center for Software Innovation, is having kind of 4 pillars. The first one is what we call education or curriculum. Today's curriculum is somewhat outdated. It has been built like 100 or 150 years ago with the idea we have to prepare our people to be workers at manufacturing facilities, right? So now we have to prepare for being the innovative. So, and we have to teach our kids something that is needed by today's businesses and corporations or startups. But today's curriculum requires a lot of innovation as well. So the first pillar we call curriculum, or education. So we have to change the curriculum so that it prepares the kids, our students, for something that they need today at today's job. The second pillar is career. We want our kids to start working and applying their skills right away after the first year. So we need to help them to find the right internship opportunities, and maybe even full-time opportunities, full-time job opportunities. So the second is career, and that's where a lot of our students and graduates can help our students to find the internships and full-time jobs at high-tech companies or high-tech jobs. So the second pillar is careers. How do we make sure that our students get early exposure to real-life problems, to real-life goals and tasks, right? So the next one is entrepreneurship. How do we help our students to develop more entrepreneurial mindset, to start their own company, and that pillar is translated into what we call Techstars Columbus. So this functioning program, which is called Techstars, and it's been successful so far. Right now, we're in the third cohort. We run cohort every 6 months where we bring entrepreneurs to Columbus, including also our students and entrepreneurs from Ohio, but also bring in entrepreneurs from all over the world. And finally is community. And your project, IX, is a great example of the community building through events through programs like yourself, like newsletters, as well as through community events that we also run. So again, 4 pillars that kind of constitute our program, Center for Software Innovation, and the pillars would be education, learning, careers, entrepreneurship, and community.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic, and there's so many parts to that I really enjoy. But just kind of pick a couple. The internship opportunity, which for Ohio State students, as you mentioned, Buckeyes are across the world. They're across America. They're in plenty of them in Silicon Valley and places like Boston and Seattle, New York, Ohio, of course, but also outside at some of these amazing tech companies. And being able to leverage that relationship between an alum that cares about their school, helping undergraduates. There's such a connectivity tissue there that I think is fantastic. And so I just absolutely love that. And then Techstars, that has been incredible for the community, for Ohio, for Columbus. And, you mentioned, and I really want to signal or shout it out, is bringing tech companies to Ohio. We have, as a state, have done such a great job at exporting tech companies and people, and they'll graduate from schools and they'll go to the West or East Coast. But Techstars, you're actually bringing people here. And I've met startups in the Techstars cohorts from Germany and Canada and across the United States. And so I just thank you for that, because it's been so neat to get to know some of them and meet them at events and talk with them. And, they'll say, no, this is a fantastic, I would have had no idea what's going on in Columbus if not for Techstars and CSI. So I just think it's really amazing to see what is getting built there. And so could you talk a little bit about Construct, which is, you talk about community, bringing all these pieces together, the annual conference that CSI is putting together. I got to hear you speak at that, and I thought that was fantastic on some of these issues. And it did such a great job of incorporating students with, alum and bringing them back, but then also just, I got to have so many fantastic conversations and learning experiences that day from entrepreneurs, innovators, software people that were really, looking to give back and share their knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. So our annual conference, Construct IO, and this year it will be, I believe, in October, and normally it's in the fall. And again, like you said, absolutely correct, Chris. It's designed to build community, to bring in one room, in one audience, to bring entrepreneurs, students, faculty, industry leaders, industry experts. So like, for example, last year, we had great speakers from Microsoft, from Anthropic, which is one of the leading LLMs or big competitor to OpenAI. And people come and learn a lot about innovation, and they exchange their ideas. And that's the types of forums that we would like to develop in our community.
When it comes to the impact of CSI, these programs, Techstars, Construct.io, what do you think the impact in the years to come looks like for Columbus, for Ohio, and even the opportunity more largely for the Midwest, a place where people don't necessarily historically think is a center for software innovation?
Yeah, the ultimate goal is to make the Central Ohio and Columbus the hub,
Mhm.
and build the strongest community of innovators out of Columbus. So, in fact, our new slogan for the Center for Software Innovation is from OH.io to the world. So we want to send the message to the world that come to Ohio. Ohio has brilliant students. Come to Central Ohio and open your startup or expand your operations in the US. Ohio State has brilliant students, faculty, and resources to help you build the best businesses, best high-tech businesses in the world.
Yeah.
And again, like you also correctly mentioned, we have one of the largest network of alumni, and we are asking our alumni to support our initiatives and hire our students as interns, because they are looking for great internship and exposure to the real life experience in high-tech jobs and high-tech companies. So we're asking our alumni, please hire our students as interns, as well as give them the opportunity as a full-time job after graduating.
Yeah.
We're here to build the largest, the strongest community of innovators.
That's fantastic. And you got your start in technology as a student as well, correct? And so you know exactly what it's like for a young student to think about technology, think about the business opportunities behind that. Could you tell us a little bit about your own experience?
Absolutely. Yeah, I came originally to Ohio State as a grad student in '92. Those were early days of internet. It's very similar to what we are experiencing right now with AI. It's going to be the next. It's very similar, right? So AI opens up so many opportunities. And back then, 1995, when me and my partner started our first business, out of a small room in a dorm at Ohio State campus, and that's how we built our first company. Out of Columbus campus, and it was a successful company that we built, and eventually we sold it to a large public company, and the company was called Aelita Software. It was providing security and management tools for data center operations. And that's how we also built the second company out of Columbus, which is called Veeam Software. And Veeam currently is known as one of the largest providers of data management and data security ransomware protection companies in the world. It has a #1 market share. Our experience shows that Columbus is a great place to start the business. And we've got a lot of support from local network. But what's been missing back then is, yeah, of course, the larger network of venture capitalists. And that's what we want to bring, more venture capitalists to Columbus. And Columbus now is getting more money and resources, and that's very exciting to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And your point about the venture capitalists coming to town, which is both with CSI, Techstars, of course, where there's fantastic researchers, universities, entrepreneurs. It's just that capital piece is something that we collectively as a region, as a state, and even the Midwest have been working on for a long time, and so these big swings are fantastic to see. What would your pitch as someone who has built and sold businesses, a leading technologist, to a San Francisco VC or a New York VC, when you're telling them about what's happening here? How do you phrase or frame that conversation with them of helping them see the light and all the opportunity that exists in this part of the world?
I mean, Columbus is one of the fastest growing cities in the country. It has a huge talent pipeline, brilliant students, and growing startup community, and big industries. I mean, we are known for having large industry like banking and insurance and agriculture and retail, and even our medical school, right? So Wexner Medical School is one of the best in the country. So it has large industries, lots of talented people, and most importantly, it has a Midwestern culture, which is hardworking and high integrity, right? So what what I really like about Columbus, and of course, yeah, low cost and high quality of living, right?
Mhm.
So I think Ohio has a lot to offer, and specifically, yeah, Ohio State and Columbus.
Yeah. Uh, as you know, we collectively, this community, your fourth pillar for CSI, you know, as we're all thinking about what Columbus, what our region has to do in order to seize this moment, because you mentioned, you know, we're in this early day of this AI revolution. It's much like when the internet, you know, years ago. What do you think are some ingredients that we need to all keep in mind, whether it's, you know, the tech companies themselves or the workforce that you mentioned, or the education systems, you know, so we don't miss this wave that's currently happening? What would your recommendation be to listeners, to people, you know, in our more broad Ohio tech community?
Yeah, I think we have all the ingredients, and I always say the most difficult part in building a successful initiative or a successful technology company is having three things: being at the right time,
Mm.
at the right place, and creating a brilliant product. So right now it's the right time because it's the next technology evolution with AI, as well as with quantum computers. I recently got very excited about quantum computers. I mean, not just recently, but I last week I visited IBM Research Center that is focused on building quantum computers. And they invited some professors from Ohio State, and I was part of that delegation. That might be very excited. So, but coming back, so we've got the right place because of the AI, and software is eating the world. We've got the right time because the right place is actually Ohio. The
Mhm.
right time is AI and software, and the right product is our community and the initiatives similar to CSI or like CSI,
Mhm.
Center for Software Innovations, that bring together all the industry experts, venture capitalists, students, faculty, and the whole community together. So
Yeah.
I think right now we've got all the ingredients to be successful.
I love it. In right place, right time, building the right product. If you are, which you are through this show and a lot of other of your speaking engagements, but if there was an entrepreneur listening, if there was a student listening, you know, that they're thinking about giving entrepreneurship a go, or thinking about building a technology product, you know, as someone who's done it multiple times and you've built and sold companies successfully, what would be a top one or two keys for an aspiring entrepreneur, someone who's in it right now, who is kind of actively building? And you know, there's good days and there's tough days and there's everything in between when you're building companies. But what would be a piece of recommendation or advice for someone that's, you know, following in your footsteps?
The best advice I always give, like, believe in your ideas, trust yourself, and don't be afraid of failing
Mm.
because you need to fail before you succeed.
Yeah.
And it's like I like multiple quotes that around this, and I think Michael Jordan said once that, yeah, I was given so many opportunities by my teammates, and I failed so many times. But the reason I succeeded because I took all these opportunities to do the winning shot at the end, right? So, so just believe in yourself. But also, what differentiates the Silicon Valley, and that's what we need to repeat in Ohio,
Mhm.
is the spirit, of innovation and spirit of entrepreneurship. Like, so in Silicon Valley, and that's what we should build in Ohio, and I think we are building. Like, everybody should think about their own startup. So in Silicon Valley, everybody talks and thinks the only one thing, startup. What's my next startup? So, and I'm glad to see, like in many parts of university and in Columbus, I see this growing and growing even more. Like in the medical school, I mean, students and professors, they ask us like, where can I take a class on AI? Where can I learn how to start my own software, how to build a product? And that's what we are developing at the center. Also, the curriculum that teaches basic or fundamental skills, how to start your own company, software company, how to use AI to start your own company. And the demand is growing. So more and more people are thinking, how do I start my own company in technology, in software? Because it's not that anymore. It's much easier and easier to create your own company using especially AI.
Yeah, and I love that you mentioned the don't be afraid of failure, which is, as you mentioned, failure is celebrated in places like Silicon Valley, where you start a company and then, you wind that one down, you start something else. And something that we hear from a lot of entrepreneurs is it's not always easy in places outside of Silicon Valley to fail. And they're oftentimes celebrated for giving it the first time a go. But if the first time isn't a success, then they don't necessarily have those same champions, at their back and pushing them along. And I think that's something that as our community, not just Ohio X, but the Columbus, the Ohio community more broadly is, needing to help entrepreneurs and making sure that we're celebrating them, not on their first attempt, but, let them, it's like a baseball game. You have multiple at bats, and we need to make sure we're helping them in each.
Absolutely. And we need our own Google, we need our own OpenAI, we need our own Tesla in Columbus, and I think we are building already one of them. We don't know yet, but
Yep.
we are building. And you're absolutely right. I think somebody said, I don't remember the exact quote, but I mean, success is that going from one failure to another and finding the success eventually, right? So it's the path.
And you become better and smarter and faster from the first time to the second time. And so I'm sure as you were building your second company, you took the lessons of the first company and it made it an even better success, right?
We made billions of mistakes. I mean, being a scientist, not a business person or a business major, I remember we made absolutely every single mistake that you could make.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that, because I think that's something that we need to be celebrating and getting that message out as much as possible. But as we're starting to kind of wind our conversation down here for this time, we like to ask our guests similar questions. And so then that way we can hear the perspective of an entrepreneur, an innovator, or maybe a scientist or a Fortune 1000 business executive. But Ratmir, first one is, what is a challenge that you're currently working to solve? It can be something really big, like you're doing with CSI, or it can be something a little smaller. Maybe you're teaching yourself a new skill.
Again, I got, while coming up with the idea for CSI, working together with the leadership at the university, I realized that there is a lot of disruption that needs to be done in education, in high school education, as well as in higher education at universities. So that made me very excited, because our education is a little bit removed or remote from the real life. And we're not teaching our students the skills that they need today. And it's a big challenge because we have to build a new curriculum and bring a new way of thinking for our professors and teachers. I think it's a big challenge globally, but Ohio State is very well positioned, because Ohio State understands that, and the leadership is like President Carter at Ohio State is very open and absolutely understands the challenges and the opportunities that we have. He sees that this trend, or the ability to think out of the box and disrupt the current education, is the opportunity for Ohio State to become, it's already one of the leading high-tech universities, right? So, higher education places. But to become number one, that's the opportunity. So I'm very happy to work together with the university leadership, and specifically with President Carter and a few other people. I'm very excited.
Yeah, and another true opportunity for Ohio to lead, certainly on a vitally important topic. Second question: what's a favorite read, listen, or watch? So it could be a book, a podcast, or a show.
Yeah, I have a attention deficit, I think. So I watch many shows with my wife, but I'm in parallel. I'm thinking or reading something about
Sure.
something else, right? So my interest right now is in two areas in AI. So
Hmm.
there is this the new wave in AI is called AI agents or agentic AI, which everybody talks about. Big companies and big CEOs like from Microsoft and Google, everybody, or Salesforce, everybody is talking about AI agents or AI assistants or AI workers or AI co-pilots, which all mean about the same thing. Like the rudimentary work, the boring part of our job is going to be outsourced to digital workers. And I want to learn about this. So I read a lot and listen to a lot of podcasts around agentic AI or AI agents and the future of AI. The second area of my interest is quantum computers, which, again, as I mentioned recently, I visited the IBM research lab and it got me extremely excited. I knew that something big is coming. I just didn't realize that this big is actually coming much faster than we expected. I thought that quantum computing is going to be like way many years ahead, away from us, but it's actually real. And IBM says that in the next 5 years, we will have the major breakthroughs in like computer security, encryption, or like new materials, new drugs, new like cancer treatments, and it's all due to quantum computing. So that's another area that is very interesting
Yeah.
to me.
Very fascinating stuff, the quantum, and another Ohio example where IBM has a quantum computer up at the Cleveland Clinic in Cleveland,
That's
and
correct. Yes,
yeah,
they're very happy about that. They've
I know
been
it's
in our
fantastic.
meeting
Yep,
multiple times, right?
yep,
Cleveland Clinic for them is a role model
yep.
in using the latest technology.
Yep, and so hopefully some of those discoveries you were mentioning, the cancer and some of the other ones,
Exactly. Yeah.
that could have a real built-in Ohio story to themselves. So,
Absolutely, yes.
uh,
And I'm very glad to have Cleveland Clinic
yeah,
in Ohio
mhm,
because they are definitely the pioneers,
yep.
one of the pioneers.
Yeah, absolutely. Right here in our backyard. Final question from me in this quick series. But what's a perfect Saturday look like for you? Obviously, you spend a lot of time building technologies, learning about them, businesses. But what do you do for more on the personal side on a weekend?
Oh, thanks for that question. Yeah, it's spending time with my kids and family, with my wife, like exercising, doing some sport activities. We play tennis, soccer, basketball, swimming, and just spending time with my family and kids.
Yeah, love it, and all the outdoor stuff. Looking forward to on a cold, cold day in Columbus as we're talking to each other. So, uh,
Exactly correct. Yes.
yeah, but Ratmir, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for taking the time. Most importantly, thanks so much for all the leadership you are showing for Ohio State, Columbus, our region more broadly. Because as you mentioned, time, place. We have the ingredients, we have the people. Anything you want to leave our listeners with for this time as a final closing message?
No, like you said it correctly, Chris. Thanks for having me. No, we have a bright future. We just have to not be afraid of failing and try different things, right? So we have the best one of the best universities in the country, and we have great students, and we just have to keep building.
Yep, got to keep building. That's a perfect end to this. But Ratmir, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks again for all that you do, and thanks for everyone for listening and watching. Check out the show notes. We'll have some information on ways you can follow the Center for Software Innovation at Ohio State, CSI, and we look forward to helping tell that story and attending events and supporting all that they're doing. But just want to thank everyone again for tuning in, for listening. A fantastic Built in Ohio episode, and I hope everyone has a great day. Bye bye.
Thank you.